Wow, the NBA trade deadline has come and gone, and man, what a whirlwind. Seriously, the entire league map has basically been redrawn. We saw contenders push all their chips to the middle of the table, and we saw other teams just hit a hard reset. So let's break it all down. The biggest moves, the boldest strategies, and what it all really means for the rest of the season.
And this quote right here, it just says it all. This perfectly captures the energy around the deadline. We're not talking about little tweaks around the edges. No, these were seismic shifts. Moves that could genuinely decide who's holding the trophy in June. And it all kicked off with some truly massive blockbuster deals.
So, here's what we're going to break down. First, we'll dive into Cleveland's huge all-in gamble. Then, we'll look at how the Lakers pulled off a surgical strike. After that, it's the Clippers' surprise reset, and we'll compare the two very different futures for the LA teams. And finally, we'll try to answer that big question, who really won the deadline?
All right, first up, the Cleveland Cavaliers. You know, they saw their championship window opening up, and they didn't just peek through it. They kicked the door down. They made a move that screams, we are all in for a title right now. The waiting game is over.
And boom, just like that, James Harden is a Cleveland Cavalier. I mean, let that sink in. One of the greatest scorers of this generation is now teaming up with Donovan Mitchell. This sent absolute shockwaves through the entire league. This move tells you the Cavs are done being happy just to make the playoffs. They're gunning for a championship.
And you better believe this had an instant impact on morale. A source inside the organization put it perfectly. The players feel the shift. They know they've gone from being a pretty good team to a legit threat. And that belief, that internal swagger, sometimes that's just as powerful as pure talent.
But look, a move like this, it's never easy. This meant they had to part ways with Darius Garland, a beloved homegrown all-star. So what was the deciding factor? It really came down to one word: availability. Garland has missed a ton of time, almost half of this season. Harden, well, for all the chatter about his playoff history, the man is on the court, night in and night out. Cleveland chose that reliability and superstar talent for their championship push right now.
And with a move this big, the pressure just got turned way, way up. This quote right here pretty much sums up the new reality for Donovan Mitchell. The front office got him the superstar partner he wanted, so now the expectation isn't just winning a playoff series, it's a deep, deep run, at least to the conference finals. The clock is officially ticking.
And hey, don't sleep on their other move, because this could be the secret ingredient. Adding Dennis Schroder, they call him the instigator for a reason. This is the guy who brings that relentless, pesky defensive energy. He's picking guys up 94 feet from the basket. That kind of intensity is absolutely contagious, and it might be exactly what their big men need to kind of light a fire under them.
Okay, let's head out west to LA and talk about the Lakers. Now, they didn't really have the assets to make a huge blockbuster trade like the Cavs did, so they had to be smart, they had to be targeted, they had to be surgical.
So, here was the Lakers' biggest problem, all boiled down to one number: 22nd. That's where they ranked in the entire league in three-point percentage. In today's NBA, it's not going to cut it if you want to be a real contender. They needed shooting, and they needed it badly. And their answer? This guy, Luke Kennard, a career sharpshooter who is hitting a ridiculous 50% from three this season. He's not just a shooter, he's an elite catch-and-shoot guy, the absolute perfect player to space the floor for LeBron, Austin, and Luka. It was a clear, direct solution to their most glaring weakness. And this is why their strategy was so smart. They fixed their biggest need without giving up their most valuable assets, like their first-round picks. So they're saving those for a potentially bigger swing this summer. They're trusting their core, adding a specialist, and they still have the flexibility to look at the buyout market for more depth. That's just a really solid, low-risk, high-reward approach.
Now, while the Lakers were making these calculated, careful additions, their hallway rivals, the Clippers, well, they went in the completely opposite direction. They pretty much hit the big red reset button in a move that honestly shocked just about everyone around the league.
I mean, just look at how fast this all went down. It kind of started in the offseason when they moved on from Norm Powell. But then on deadline day, boom, James Harden is gone. And so is their longest tenured player, Zubac. This wasn't just a retool. This was a full-on, tear-it-down-to-the-studs rebuild.
Just think about that for a second. 3 of their top 4 scorers from just last year are gone, not on the team anymore. That is a massive exodus of talent and scoring, and it signals a complete and total change in direction for the whole franchise.
So where does this leave their one remaining superstar, Kawhi Leonard? Well, this quote from him, it is, wow. Finding out about these huge franchise-altering moves at the same time as the fans, that suggests, maybe a bit of a disconnect there. It raises a giant question mark about his role in all this, and maybe more importantly, his future with the team.
So what this does is it sets up this absolutely fascinating dynamic in Los Angeles. You've got two teams, they share the same building, but they are heading in completely opposite directions. One is all in, right now, on the present, while the other is suddenly looking way, way into the future.
And this table really just lays it all out, side by side. The Lakers are trying to win a championship now, adding a specialist to help their stars. The Clippers, they're starting over, collecting draft picks. And it leaves us with two huge lingering questions. Did the Lakers actually do enough to truly contend? And what in the world is the next chapter for Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers?
So, after all that, we get to the final verdict. When you really look at the aggressive, all-in moves from Cleveland, the smart, strategic additions by the Lakers, and that shocking pivot by the Clippers, it's pretty clear there's no single winner you can just circle on paper.
And that really leaves us with this final thought. We've just seen three completely different ways of thinking on display. The all-in gamble for a title right now, the patient, surgical strike to fill a need, and the hard reset to build for the future. So the question is, which one of these strategies is going to pay off first? The real winner of this trade deadline won't be decided today, but on the court. It's going to be fascinating to watch.